At first, Homer's Odyssey can seem as far away from a fairy tale as you can get. I mean, yes, there are little pigs, but there's also a giant six-headed monster who eats people, and you're never really sure of a happy ending. However, there are aspects of Odysseus' journey that do resemble a fairy tale. For example, the women. Let's first look at the goddess Athena. Battle goddess of war, she's the only goddess who is pictured wearing armour. She embodies courage, inspiration and justice, and is forever getting revenge on those who insult her. Doesn't sound like a traditional fairy tale woman yet, does she? However, introduce Odysseus and she goes all gooey-eyed. The goddess of the flashing eyes, Athena, answered him at once. Father of ours, son of Kronos, king of kings, it is for Odysseus that my heart is wrung, the wise and unlucky Odysseus, who has been parted so long from all his friends and is pining on a lonely island far away in the middle of the seas. In fact, it's largely thanks to Athena that Odysseus gets home from Troy at all. She is his tutelary goddess and is always there to protect him and to give him what he needs. A tremendous wave swept Odysseus to the rugged shore, where his skin would have been torn off him and his bones broken, had not the bright-eyed goddess Athena put it in his head to grab hold of a rock with both hands as he was swept in. In this way, she's kind of his fairy godmother. That would make Odysseus Cinderella. Next up, Circe. She's an immortal witch who seems like two fairy tale characters rolled into one. When Odysseus and his men arrive on her island, Aia, half of his men go and approach her palace. She greets them and offers them food and drink. Drugged food and drink which turns them all into pigs. This can put the reader in mind of the old lady in Hansel and Gretel, or the Queen in Snow White, both of whom use food to lure their unsuspecting good guys into their trap. Circe ushered the men into her hall, gave them seats and chairs to sit on, and then prepared them a mixture of cheese, barley meal, and yellow honey flavoured with Pramnian wine. But into this dish she introduced a noxious drug to make them lose all memory of their native land, and when they had emptied the bowls which she had handed them, she drove them with blows of a stick into the pigsties. Now they had pigs' heads and bristles, and they grunted like pigs, but their minds were as human as they had been before. Then later, when Odysseus arrives, we see her softer, sensual side, as she seduces... lots of S's in that sentence. Then, we see her softer, more sensual side, as she tries to seduce Odysseus into her bed. Ever seen The Little Mermaid? Ursula? Vanessa? But now put up your sword and come with me to bed, so that in making love we may learn to trust one another. I mean, Odysseus has to go to bed with Circe, so she'll release his men, but he stays on for an entire year after they've been released. Just saying. There we have it. Some aspects of the Odyssey do in fact resemble fairy tales, particularly some of the women he meets along the way. Does this mean that some of the fairy tales we know today are inspired by Homer?